So in this video, I'm going to give you some graphical evidence as to why final expense as a business model is healthy and is strong and will absolutely be getting better and better for the next several decades. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. If you're interested in selling final expense face-to-face or over the phone, then check out how my agency works at davidduford.com/FAQ. So the reason I'm putting this video together is most likely you're interested in selling final expense. You've probably poked around in the industry, have looked at some potential final expense sales opportunities, but are wondering what is the long-term projections and opportunities with the final expense business. And so what I've decided to do is put together some graphs to show you some underlying socioeconomic trends that are completely undeniable. And then I'm going to end this with some perspective that I think I have just in dealing with final expense since 2011, and why I think even if there is inflation, even if there is a recession, that the final expense business will continue to remain strong, and those people who decide to focus in it will see a lot of opportunity for success. So the first thing I pulled on the screen here is the total numerical population projected of the baby boomer population over age 65 from 2012 to 2030 estimate from Malden Economics. And this is a little bit dated, but I think the graph itself serves to share the main point. You may not be able to see this with my headshot in the lower portion of the screen. But what you have here in 2022 at the filming of this is approximately just over 40 million people. And just in the next 8 years, that population 65 and older is going to be just right under 80 million, almost a doubling of the population over the age of 65. Let's take a moment to explain why we should even care about the population of 65 and older people increasing or almost doubling in the next approximately 8 or so years. Because here's the thing, with final expense, this is a product that's sold predominantly to older Americans. As they age into the latter quarter of their life, they start to take things more seriously, like the risk of dying and the financial potential difficulties that arise from it. And so products like life insurance become much, much more relevant to the general population than had it before, because the excuse was always, hey, you know, I'm in great shape. I don't need to worry about life insurance. It's something that's not a big deal. But as people enter their baby boomer or the 65 and older years, what happens is there is, in a sense, a perspective shift. You've lived long enough to develop some wisdom, some experience firsthand of loved ones dying, maybe a spouse, relative, or friend. And many people have seen the incredible cost that it takes to bury or cremate someone. So there's this inflection point, as I like to say it with my agents, where the need for life insurance, specifically final expense coverage, becomes much, much more prevalent. So when we look at a chart like what we've seen just a moment ago, what this is showing is that more and more Americans are entering that particular mindset where the need for life insurance to cover final expenses or burial insurance, whatever you want to call it, is much, much more relevant. And now there are many more open minds with each progressive year for people looking into and wanting life insurance to cover final expenses. Thus, if you're in the final expense business, you're literally going to have double the prospects within less than 10 years as the filming of this. And there are not a lot of industries that can say the same opportunity exists, and that's a good thing. And another way to demonstrate the same point, plus start to parlay into a conversation about some of the major objections agents have. Well, what about Social Security? What about Medicare and the financial impact of possibly that going away? What impact will that have on us being able to sell final expense? So I like to show the total percentage of the population, because one of the things that's happening and will happen for the next several decades is a general graying of the population. The baby boom that happened post-World War II has not been sustained, at least the rate of the average size of the family. So what's happened is people are having less kids, and as the population increases, there is this contingent of Americans, baby boomers essentially, who are at a higher rate than what will happen with their progeny entering an advanced age, and will start to take up more as a percentage of the total population than the younger generations. This is very important in a moment when it comes to politics, but in the standpoint, again, of the market and where the interests lie, where marketing dollars are going to flow to, is going to progressively be towards the senior population. Just look as a percentage of the population, what you'll see as people being 65 and older. As of the filming of this, it's approximately probably somewhere around 17-18% of the population. But again, if you get to 2030, it goes up to 20%. 1 out of 5 people are going to be over the age of 65 or 65 and older. And that just maintains and slightly increases each decade thereafter. So again, why should you care? Why is this important? Because more of the population that is in this latter part of their life, they're going to carry these kind of realizations and seismic changes in how they look at life, how they look at what they want to accomplish in their 60s and beyond versus somebody who's in their 20s or 30s. And that's going to have a direct impact on things like Social Security, on programs like Medicare. And when I hear a lot of people worry that Social Security is going to go bankrupt or we can't afford to have these programs in place to cover seniors, the fact of the matter is that 20% of the population for many years to come is going to be the senior population. And in a democracy where you can vote in your man or woman to make policy, and with an issue like Medicare or Social Security truly being bipartisan, if there are people in Congress that don't go along and basically maintain the status quo, then their jobs are at risk. I truly believe, Democrat or Republican or anything in between, that if a person in Congress, the House, or the Senate tries to remove or reduce Social Security or Medicare in any sort of real way, there is going to be political consequence to that person. And that's why I think, generally speaking, that there's not really going to be that much sizable change in Social Security and Medicare. Could we change the date in which Social Security starts? Sure. Well, there may be possibly a reduction in the benefits of Medicare. Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, we're talking about 20% of the voting bloc for the foreseeable future for decades to come. That will swing one way or the other if something like Social Security, which millions of those people are going to depend on to live, or Medicare to take care of their health concerns, if that goes away, you can bet that those people will vote for the other party that promises them to maintain and improve those benefits. So again, why does this all matter? Because when we look at something like final expense sales, the fact that the population is increasing in size at a sizable rate and will maintain a large percentage of the population means something like final expense that largely is sold to people who are on a fixed income will probably still be a very safe product and will grow precipitously even more than it has right now in 2022 at the filming of this video. And all of this is to say, when it comes to something like picking a product, you want to pick one where there's less stress from a macroeconomic standpoint, in my opinion, from a business. And when you have a dependable source of income being paid to a large and ever-growing group of people, that means you don't have the same risks as you would, say, selling life insurance to somebody who works for a living. What if there's a massive recession and those people are laid off? People are going to consider, or even the threat of layoff, people are going to consider putting off buying life insurance or possibly letting go of what they have. But when you talk to a senior population who's closer to the end of life, sees a more relevant, realistic need to have it, and has guaranteed income payments, this is going to be a long-term better time of investment of your time, and potentially someone who's going to not just buy the plan but keep it so that you continue to get paid, and the ups and downs economically aren't going to as much as impact those seniors simply because they know they need this coverage, and it's something that is very important. And when it comes to running a business, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, somebody who was in the personal training business many years ago, which is absolutely affected by the ups and downs. This is a relief. This is a good thing. And it's all good all over. This is why I'm all in on the final expense business. It's one of the best businesses in the insurance side of things to start with. It's a great first-year commission business, and I highly recommend that you check it out further if you're just getting into it. If you'd like more information on, again, how the business works and how we help agents sell final expense remotely, face-to-face, then go to davidduford.com/FAQ. There you'll learn more about how the business works and can decide for yourself if it's a good fit. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. See you later.